is. And yeah, so let me start with a couple questions for you guys. Do any of you guys know what hearing impairment is?
Can you speak a little louder?
Do you guys know what hearing impairment is?
Little.
No? Alright, do you guys know anything like how common it is or what kind of type of hearing losses there is? Sort of not really. What about hearing aids? Yeah, kind of. Alright, well, just to start off, as you can see, alright, so hearing impairment. Hearing impairment is the loss of hearing. So you have any certain degree of hearing loss, like let's say you have 1%, 2%, you're considered disabled. So what that means, you need hearing aids. Hearing aids is a small device that amplifies sound through your ears. So it basically helps you hear better. Now, today, obviously, I'm going to start and introduce you guys to what hearing impairment is, and I'm going to have the following basis of how common it is, what types of hearing loss and causes there is for hearing impairment, and lastly, what type of hearing aids there are. So first off, how common is it? Well, almost everybody in the age group has it. It ranges from many ages. But to begin with, there's a 50% of children in the U.S. that have hearing loss. So, meaning from ages 6 to 19, which is almost some of us here, we have some degree of hearing impairment. Also, another fact from, I believe it's Hearing Loss Association of America, there are 48 million people that have hearing impairment that are basically letting people know every day. So 48 million people every day, that's a lot of people. Every 2 of 3, 1,000 child in the U.S. is born with hearing impairment. So that's pretty common if you think about it. Not only does it affect the youth, it also affects elderly people. So the ages from 20 to 69 is the strongest predictor of hearing loss. So that's kind of crazy. As well as ages from 60 to 69 have the greatest amount of hearing loss. So that's kind of scary. As you get older, your hearing loss is very, very likely to happen. To move on, what are the types and causes for hearing loss? Well, the first one is conductive hearing loss, which is within the middle ear, which is about right there. That's the middle ear. Problems that happen within that, well, sorry about that. The causes of that can be from an ear infection or just having a massive amount of earwax. So not being like clean, I guess, can cause that type of hearing loss. The next one is sensorineural loss, which is problems within the inner ear, which is over here. Now, the reason why it's called sensorial is has to do with your nerves and your systems and stuff like that within the ear. It's also known as nerve related. That happens with aging and exposure to loud music, so it's very sense related. And then the last one is mixed hearing loss, which is a combination of both of them. So you can have that due to the fact that you're hearing loud music and you have earwax in your ear and stuff like that. Now, let me bring you to the types of hearing aids. There are 3 different types. There's the behind the ear hearing aids, which is that one right there. Now, these ones are obviously, it's like not many people really want to hear them or wear them They do have all of the, sorry about that. they have all the functions within the back of the ear. So everything for the hearing aid to work is right in here, which travels through this little tube, and then from there you obviously that's your ear, where it goes into your ear, and it translates the sounds and all that. Now the next one is the in-the-ear hearing aids, or other people might know it as completely in the canal or invisible in the canal, which is this one over here. More discreet, it helps people feel more comfortable when they're in public. It's not as noticeable, and all the functions are within right here. They also have a function that it knew, not from this one, but to this one, that you can mute people if you don't want to hear them. So let's say if you have a conversation with someone you just don't like, you just mute them. But yeah, so it brings me to our last one, which is the receiver in the canal or the receiver in the ear, hearing aids. And that's mostly these ones right here. So it's similar to the behind the ear, it has all the functions and everything. However, this time within the receiver in the canal, it does have the, it has the hearing aid with the thing wire. So instead of this one directly just going from there, 16, or having it just come through there, all the functions come in the wire. So without that wire, you pretty much are screwed. Cannot hear. Which brings me to my last conclusion of why this even matters. A lot of people are affected by it. It kind of lets you realize how common it is, how effective it is actually, because a lot of us hear a lot of loud music. Some of us probably don't clean our ears as soon as we're out of the shower. And yeah, so the main reason why I think this is important is I'm personally hearing impaired 40%. I have to have hearing aids with me all the time. So just like other people, I have the small ones. I have the in the ear hearing aids. Helps me feel comfortable, so when I'm around you guys might not notice I have it. But yeah, I was diagnosed at 7 years old that I was hearing impaired, and we're not sure what the probable cause is. I was told by the doctor that it could be due to the fact that I had a ear infection at the moment, as well as a car crash I was in with my mother, which had the car flip over, stuff like that. But I really want to just encourage people to basically recognize how common it is and maybe take an action on it. Thank you.
All right, Giselle, what did you think? Loud and clear, too, by the way.
The central idea was hearing impairment, how common it is, the hearing loss, and then the types of hearing aids. Two things I thought that were interesting, strong points, were that the adults from ages 20 to 69 have the strongest predictor, and that the types of hearing aids, there's three different types of hearing aids. I thought there was only one type, so it was nice to know that there's different kinds. And I thought it was also cool that you can mute it. The only two things that I saw that you can improve in were maybe to face forward more, and then less words in the slides, because I caught myself reading more on the slides rather than focus on you. And then I think the visual, you did a really good job on the visual aids. I think it really helped to explain what you were talking about and have a better picture of it. And then, yeah, I thought your presentation was really good.
All right. I'm going to agree with a lot of the things that you're talking about. There are 2 or 3 things that I think are a little bit more problematic. But a lot of things are good. let's talk about the good things. It's pretty clearly organized, so it's not that hard to follow. The visuals are large enough to see, and you talk about them with enough detail to make it interesting. I do think that the visuals probably could be, when you get to the 3 different types of hearing aids, it would probably make sense to have them on 3 separate slides, because you kind of keep having to go back and forth and distinguish them, and that encourages you to use that laser pointer, which you don't really want to do. The only place where I thought maybe there's a slight justification for using the laser pointer, when you're identifying on that first visual with the graphic on it, or the image on it, where the center, the inner ear is, and the middle ear kind of issues that are going on. But even then, I think you could probably get by without using the pointer. It's right there next to you. You come equipped with pointers. You don't need the laser thing, and it would integrate you a little bit more into the speech. So it's well organized. The visuals are pretty solid. I don't think you need the title page up there, so let's lose that. We talked about that in class. That's something that you definitely don't need to have. Now, I'm going to pick out a couple of things that I think are problematic also to talk about. You introduced yourself at the beginning. I just called you by name, so we know who you are. Why are you doing that? If you're going to introduce yourself, remember we talked about introduction. Sometimes you do make a personal reference. I thought it was strange that you saved the thing that would be the most useful personal reference to the end of the speech instead of the beginning of the speech. You might say, hi, I'm Junior, and I know you guys know who I am because I've been in class, but something about me that you may not know is that I have a hearing impairment of up to 40%, and that I actually wear a hearing aid in most of my classes to be able to hear effectively in class. That would be an introduction that's relevant to your subject, and it would be a lot more interesting than just hi, I'm Junior, and my subject is hearing aids, or hearing. I think that's a little bit of a problem. Giselle said, the subject, she identifies what the topic is, but not what the purpose statement is, and I'm still having problems figuring out what the purpose statement is. I know what the subject is, and I know what the supporting points are, but I'm not quite clear as to what it was I was supposed to get from all of those things, so that needs to be a little bit sharper at the beginning as well. She pointed out something that I think is true about the presentation. Now, the presentation is not something that we're weighing heavily here, but it is something that you want to be aware of. I like the fact that you are not dependent on the script. You know what you're talking about. You need a couple of notes, and you mostly refer to the visuals to kind of prompt you on the next thing that you're talking about. But because you're reliant on the visual, you have a tendency to stand sideways and sometimes even turn your back to the audience. And that's why that part of the room probably feels a little bit more ignored than this part of the room does. Everybody over here, you looked at them most of the time, even when you were standing sideways. Everybody over there, I think, that Tim and Jacob over there, they're probably wondering, well, why doesn't he like me? Why doesn't he ever talk to me? He's got his back to me the whole time that presentation's going on. So I think that that's a little bit of a problem. I said Jacob. That's wrong. Is it? Did I get it right?
That's not my check.
Okay, just double checking. I had to think about it a second. I know it starts with a J. Okay. Okay, well, we're good there. So, and the other thing is that there's one spot where there's some source citation in the presentation, and that's that 48 million number. I'm assuming that some of the other statistics you had probably came from the same source, but you don't say that. And when you're talking about the hearing aids, for instance, I got no references to any source of information there, and why that's true. And one of the big questions that I had while I was sitting here watching your presentation and listening to it was, do hearing aids work for all kinds of hearing loss? Are they effective for all of those kinds of things? And I didn't really get any discussion of that. I just got a description of what they generally look like, and some kind of physical differences in them, but not how they work or how effective they are, and that seemed to me like it would be more important than some of the other things that you were talking about. Although the mute button is kind of a cool idea. All right, thank you.